to the Seattle Birds Show with me, Zoe, your science teacher. If you didn't see the episode from last time, episode 1, make sure you go back and watch that one first. And if you did watch that one and you're ready for this one, then make sure you have your bird tracker ready. We're not going to be writing anything in it. We're not going to be using it to track and count birds yet, but we will be trying to find the pictures of the birds that we learn about in it. So make sure that you have your tracker ready while you're watching this video. Last episode, we learned about 2 really cool birds, the northern flicker, and do you remember the other one? It was the one we rocked out with for a while, the rock pigeon. So hopefully you kept your eyes and ears peeled for those 2 birds since you watched the episode last time. And today we're going to learn about 3 new birds, and these ones are kind of tricky. They look pretty similar, and a lot of ornithologists get them mixed up. So you will have to use a special close eye to tell the differences between how they look and a close ear to tell the differences between how they sound. All right, let's go. Let's get ready for our very first one. This is called the black-capped chickadee. Why do you guys think it's called the black-capped chickadee? Do you see any markings on it that might have given it its name, black-capped? Do you see that it actually has a black cap? Like it's almost wearing a cute little hat on its head, a little black cap is another way to say a little black hat. So it's called the black-capped chickadee because it has a black cap over the top of its crown. Remember, this part of the bird is called its crown. And what other markings do you see on it? How else could you tell this bird, the black-capped chickadee, apart from other birds? Shout out a few things that you notice about this bird. Oh, some of you noticed that it has kind of a fluffy, creamy colored breast? Yeah. Oh, did you also notice it has light gray stripy wings? And, oh my goodness, it almost looks like it has a black beard, a black cap and a black beard. That's our little black-capped chickadee with a big white slice in the middle, like a slice of pizza made out of snow, a snowy pizza slice right in the middle, and a black cap on its crown, and a black beard looking feather area right underneath its head. And what kind of food do you think it eats with that short little beak? It's short, but it looks kind of strong. If you guessed that it might break open some little seeds and nuts, you're right. That's one thing a chickadee loves to eat. And it also is pretty pointy, so it can grab little bugs and caterpillars and worms too. So a chickadee eats seeds, nuts, and insects. It eats a few different things. Here, let's listen to the black-capped chickadee's calls. It has a few common, fun calls. Are you ready to use your listening ears? Here we go. The first call we're going to hear has a special name, well, a nickname. It's called the "Hey Sweetie" call. Like one chickadee is saying, "Hey sweetie," to another friend, another chickadee nearby. "Hey sweetie." See if you can listen and figure out why it's called the "Hey Sweetie" call. Do you hear? It kind of sounds like, "Hey, sweetie, hey, sweetie." Another nickname is the Phoebe call. Those are kind of nonsense words, but it kind of sounds like that too. Phoebe, Phoebe. Let's listen to it one more time. Here we go. sweetie. Can you make that call? Hey, sweetie, Phoebe. If you can whistle, you can try that, or you can just try to make it with your mouth with some of those words that help you remember. Phoebe, Phoebe, or hey, sweetie, hey, sweetie. Give that a try. You sound great. Good job. Keep practicing, and maybe you'll be able to confuse a chickadee that you're a chickadee too. All right, let's hear another chickadee call. This one is a higher pitched call. Let's listen to this one. And this one is called the DDD call, or as I like to say it, the Chickadee call, because it almost sounds like the chickadee is saying its name. Chickadee dee dee dee, chickadee dee dee dee. See if you can hear it in the call say its name. Chickadee dee dee dee, chickadee dee dee dee. Did you hear that? Let's see if we can hear it one more time. Chickadee dee dee dee. Can you try that call? Chickadee dee dee dee, chickadee dee dee dee. Nice job. You can keep practicing that one too. All right, so that's what the little chickadee looks like. And it's pretty tiny, as you can see on the branches. It has little perching feet, and it kind of hops around from branch to branch and looks for little seeds and nuts and bugs to eat. And it's only about this big, about, a size of a lemon, or smaller sometimes too. So there's the black-capped chickadee. Can you find the black-capped chickadee in your Seattle bird tracker book? Remember, you're looking for a bird with that black cap, that black beard, and that white pizza slice shape on the side of its head. But here's a hint. There's a couple other birds in your book that look similar, so pay close attention. Let's look together. You look in your book while I look in mine. Where could it be? Ooh, this one looks similar. Oh, but it can't be this one, because this one has a skinny white stripe, not a big white pizza slice. And it also doesn't have a black beard. That must be the one that was trying to trick me. Hope it didn't trick you. Keep looking. Keep trying to find the black-capped chickadee in your book. I found it. Did you find it? If you found the page that looks like this, you got it. And you can double check always if it says its name at the top. Black-capped chickadee. There's the black cap, the black beard, and the white pizza slice on the side of its head. You got it. Let's move on to our next bird. Here is our next bird. This is the one that tried to trick us in our bird tracker when we were looking for the black-capped chickadee. You can see it has some similar markings on its head, has some black and white on its head. But what is different about it? How can you tell this bird apart from the chickadee? And by the way, this bird's called a nuthatch. Like a nut is hatching, a nuthatch. How can you tell the nuthatch's face apart from the chickadee's face? Tell me a few things you notice that are a little different. Oh, did you notice that the white stripe is a lot skinnier and the black goes right over the eye? And it kind of has a little black cap not like a whole hat like the chickadee does. This one almost just has a little black stripe on the top, not really big enough to be a whole cap like the black cap chickadee. And did you also notice that it doesn't have black underneath its head, like kind of a beard like the black cap chickadee did? So this one's a little different, and you have to pay close attention with your eyes to tell them apart. This beak also is a little pointier, and that's because the nuthatch tries to reach in some holes in the bark sometimes in trees to poke out little bugs. And also, the reason it's called a nuthatch is because sometimes if they find a little nut or a little seed, they put it in a hole in a branch, and then they peck at it. The hole in the branch holds the seed or the nut steady for them so it doesn't roll away, and then they peck at it to hatch the nut open. Nuthatch, that's where they got their name, a nuthatch. So they need a beak that can kind of peck into those holes to find bugs, but also hatch those nuts open that they put in those holes. It's kind of like a little bowl for a bird to hold their nut still. What else do you notice about this bird's body? Did you say gray wings and also a creamy breast, kind of like that chickadee? So remember, the chickadee had a creamy breast and gray wings too. So that is a similarity also. They look pretty similar. The nuthatch's breast is a little bit more orangey colored usually, but not always. So it's a little tricky to confuse it sometimes with the chickadee. But let's look at the chickadee's tail compared to the nuthatch's tail. Yeah, the nuthatch's tail is a whole lot shorter than the chickadee's tail. Look at that. So there's another difference. Let's now look at some of the behavior of the red-breasted nuthatch. That's its full name, red-breasted nuthatch, because its breast is a little bit reddish color, but we can just call it the nuthatch to remember it more easily. Here is the nuthatch's behavior. And what's something that's interesting about them is that they're kind of like acrobats. They can walk normal, upright on things, but they can also walk sideways and upside down, and they can cling with their little perching feet in lots of different directions to help them look for seeds and nuts and bugs. Let's see it. Do you see it going upside down sometimes? Keep watching a few more seconds and see all the different ways that a nuthatch can turn. Look it, it's upside down. Wow, I wish I could do that. All right, let's now listen to the nuthatch's call. It's the nickname for the way that its call sounds is the yank call. See if you can kind of figure out why it's called that. Doesn't it kind of sound like it's saying yank, yank, yank? Almost like it's a little toy car up in the branches of the trees going yank, yank, like blasting its little car horn. Beep, 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 beep. Let's listen just for a few more seconds. If the nuthatch gets angry, it has a different sounding call. Do you want to hear what its angry call sounds like? Here we go. Doesn't it sound like it's yelling at someone? Hey, hey, what are you doing? Hey, I'm not very happy with you. So that's what its angry call sounds like when it's trying to defend its territory or warn other birds to stay away. or warn predators to stay away too. So that's the nuthatch. See if you can find it in your book. Let's look together. We need to look for those black and white stripes on the head, but different than the chickadee's ones. I found it. Did you find it? If you found this page, that's it, the nuthatch. It has that little black stripe, not a whole cap like the black-capped chickadee, just a little black stripe on the top, a little skinny white stripe, not a whole white pizza slice like the chickadee, another little black stripe over its eye like it's wearing a bandit mask, and then white under its chin, not a black beard like the chickadee, and kind of an orangey color breast, gray wings, and a short little tail, and a cute little pointy beak. So there's the nuthatch. All right, we're gonna do one more bird so that we have 3 birds today in our episode. And this next one is a little tricky too. Sometimes people confuse this one with the nuthatch and the chickadee. So let's pay close attention. Here it is. Here is our final bird for today's episode. This is called the Junco, kind of like the word junk with the sound O at the end, Junco. And I'm not sure exactly where it got that name. Do you have any ideas? You could teach me something maybe. Anyway, the Junco sometimes gets confused with the black-capped chickadee and the nuthatch because it also has a lot of black on its head. But what's it missing that the chickadee and the nuthatch have? If you said white markings on its face, you're right. The Junco does not have any white stripes. Remember, the chickadee had that big white pizza slice, and the nuthatch had that white stripe right there above its eye and the white part of its chin. But the Junco just has a whole black head, kind of like it's wearing a big hoodie sweatshirt with a black hood, and it's just covered up its whole head with its black hood. So that's the Junco. What other markings do you see on its body? Or body part shapes that would help you tell it apart? Did you notice it has a pretty strong beak? It's still pretty short, but it's pretty thick. So one of the Junco's favorite foods is, what do you think? Cracking open seeds and little nuts. Yeah, it does also eat some insects like the chickadee and the nuthatch, but one of the Junco's favorite foods is cracking open seeds and little nuts with its kind of little nutcracker beak. And did you also notice that its wings have this nice light brown color, and its breast is more creamy white, and it has kind of a medium to long sized tail? So that's the Junco. Let's go watch what it can do and listen to its call. One of the things I think the Junco's call sounds like is laughter, but really high-pitched little laughter, like it's up in the trees saying, tee, tee, like it's laughing at all the other animals, like it just said the funniest joke. See if you can see why I think it sounds like little tiny laughter. Listen closely. Doesn't it kind of sound like it's doing little tiny laughter? So that's the Junco. Let's see if we can find that one in our book. Remember, look for that big black hood covering its whole head and the brown wings. Let's see, where could it be? This one has a black hood. Oh, but the rest of the colors and the shape don't match. That's not it. Let's find it. Where are you, Junco? Oh, this one has a black hood. Oh, but the Junco did not have a red eye or bright red on its side. That's not it either. Don't let these other birds fool you. Where could that Junco be? Did anyone find it yet? I haven't. There it is. Did you find this page in your tracker? That's the Junco. The brown wings, the big black hood covering its whole head, except for its beak, and its kind of creamy gray underbelly and breast. There's the Junco. So those are the 3 birds that we are going to learn today. Can you remember what they're called? One was the chickadee, the black-capped chickadee. One was the nuthatch. Remember, it can peck open little nuts and kind of hatch them open. And the last one was the Junco. So keep your eyes peeled over the next few days to see if you can find those birds with your sense of sight and listen for their calls. Remember, the chickadee's famous call is the chickadee-dee-dee, or the hey sweetie, hey sweetie. And then remember that the nuthatch had that, could hop all around, upside down and sideways, and it had its yank, yank little call up in the treetops, like a little horn on a little tiny car. And then the Junco's little laughter in the treetops. So keep your eyes and ears open for those birds over the next few days. Don't write anything in your bird tracker yet, but keep this in a safe space in your house so you don't lose it, because we'll be needing to learn about a few more birds in this bird tracker, and then we will use it to count a bunch of birds in a few days after we've learned how to identify all of the birds that are in here. So keep this safe, don't lose it, and that's it for today's episode.
Wait! Check this out! Look what I just found in my backyard. It's one of the birds you just learned about. It's kind of hiding behind that tree. There it is. Can you recognize which bird this is? Did you see the black cap and the white pizza slice on the side? That means it was a what? A black-capped chickadee. How exciting. Maybe you could go see one in your backyard too.